For years, the company has pushed the iPhone toward one clear direction: slimmer bodies, lighter frames, and a cleaner overall feel. That has been the formula. That has been the message. But with the iPhone 18 Pro, the rumors suggest Apple could be changing course. The next Pro model may end up a little thicker, a bit heavier, and once again, it may skip a true black finish. At first, that sounds like Apple is going backwards. But if you look deeper, these changes may actually point to something much more important. This may not be a downgrade at all. It may be Apple choosing practicality over appearance. Let's begin with the design, because that is where most of the confusion starts. Different leaks are giving different numbers for the thickness. Some say the phone could grow by nearly 2 millimeters. Others suggest the difference will be so small that most people will never notice it. So which one is correct? The likely answer is that both are partly right, depending on what part of the phone is being measured. The main chassis is expected to stay close to the current size, with only a slight increase. It may land around the 9mm range. That is not a dramatic change. In everyday use, most people probably will not feel much difference. But the real shift is happening at the back. The camera area, the rear camera section, or camera island, is expected to become larger. And that is not because Apple wants the phone to look more aggressive. It is because the hardware inside needs more room. One of the biggest rumored upgrades is a variable aperture camera system. This would be the first time Apple brings this kind of mechanism to an iPhone. Right now, smartphone cameras depend heavily on software to manage exposure and lighting. A variable aperture changes that by physically adjusting the lens opening, similar to a traditional camera. That means better control in bright light, better results in dark environments, more natural background blur, and a more flexible camera overall. But mechanical parts take space. That is the simple truth. If Apple wants to add real camera hardware, it cannot keep everything ultra-thin at the same time. The larger camera bump is the result of that trade-off. So the phone is not becoming thicker for no reason. It is making room for better imaging technology. Now let's move to weight, because that is another major talking point. Reports suggest the iPhone 18 Pro Max could weigh around 240 grams. That would place it among the heaviest iPhones Apple has ever made. On paper, that may sound like a negative, but the reason behind the extra weight tells a very different story. Apple is expected to use a much larger battery. In the US version, the battery may reach around 5,567 mAh. That is a huge jump compared to earlier models. It is nearly 500 mAh more than before. And that is only part of the story. Apple is also rumored to be adding a stainless steel vapor chamber cooling system. This type of cooling is usually associated with gaming phones and high-performance devices. Its job is to spread heat more efficiently, keep temperatures under control, and help the phone maintain performance during demanding tasks. When you combine a bigger battery with stronger cooling, the result is predictable. The phone gets heavier, but the real question is simple. Would you rather carry a lighter phone that struggles to last the day, or a slightly heavier one that gives you better battery life and more stable performance? For many users, the answer is obvious. This is not really a loss. It is a compromise, and in this case, it may be a very worthwhile one. Now let's talk about something that may frustrate a lot of people: the color options. For a Pro model, most users expect at least one classic dark finish. Something black, something deep gray, something that feels clean and premium. But according to the latest leaks, Apple may once again avoid offering that kind of color. Instead, the iPhone 18 Pro lineup is expected to include light blue, silver, and a new dark cherry shade. Even that dark cherry color is not expected to be a true deep red. It may lean slightly toward purple. That is a bold choice, and not everyone will like it, especially people who prefer simple, understated designs. If you want a darker look, you may have to settle for the least flashy option and hide it with a case. That is not ideal, and honestly, it is one of the harder decisions to justify. But the story does not stop there, because all of these upgrades come with a price. The new variable aperture camera system is expected to be much more expensive to manufacture. Some reports say it could cost Apple as much as 50% more than the current camera setup. At the same time, the global memory chip market is under pressure. Demand from AI data centers is rising fast, and that is pushing prices higher across the industry. Apple is not isolated from that problem. So what does that mean for buyers? A more expensive iPhone. Analysts believe the iPhone 18 Pro models could become $100 to $200 more expensive than before. That would put the starting price somewhere around $1,200 to $1,300. That is a serious increase. And there is another change coming as well. Apple may alter its launch schedule. The Pro models, along with a new foldable device, are expected to arrive first, likely in the fall. The standard iPhone 18 models may not show up until later, possibly in the spring. So if you want the newest iPhone right away, the Pro version may be your only option, and that means paying more. Now here is the bigger picture. For a long time, people have been asking Apple for two things: better battery life and real camera upgrades. Not just software improvements, but actual hardware changes. And now it looks like Apple is finally responding. Yes, the phone may be a little thicker. Yes, it may be heavier. And yes, the color lineup may disappoint some people. But the important upgrades are the ones that affect daily use. A more advanced camera, a larger battery, better thermal management. Those are not small changes. Those are the kinds of upgrades people actually notice. If you are someone who only cares about basic phone use, the higher price may make this a difficult upgrade to justify. But if you care about photography, performance, and battery endurance, the iPhone 18 Pro could end up being one of the most interesting iPhones Apple has released in years. Because for once, Apple may not be focused only on making the iPhone look thinner and prettier. It may be focused on making it more capable. And that is a much bigger deal. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe, share it with others, and turn on the bell icon.